In this video, I'm going to discuss 5 things you may not know about the metal element. Okay, maybe not that type of metal, and while I do enjoy a good death metal from time to time, we're going to talk about the element of metal from the ancient system of the 5 elements or 5 phases. So if you're not familiar with me or my channel or anything to do with Chinese medicine, basically the 5 phases, it's an ancient system of understanding ourselves and the world around us through the elements of water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. Okay, today we're going to focus on metal. Why? Because now we are into the season of autumn. Okay, fall equinox just came upon us, and autumn is associated with the metal element. Now I'm going to explain this a little more in depth, but people ask, what 5 elements, like how can this help me in life? Basically, all of us have a constitutional element, or we have all 5 elements within us and our personalities and how we see the world and react in the world. But we usually have 1 or 2 that are our primary elements or more dominant since birth. It's basically like our blueprint. So if you think of it like our own personal rhythm in the world is our element type. Now you could look at it as archetypes and things like that, but understand this, the elements are not static things. That's why they call it the 5 phases, because it's the 5 phases in nature, but it also applies to us and the phases we go through in our own lives. Now each element is going to be associated with not only a season, but also organ systems of your bodies, things like smell, taste, emotion, all kinds of stuff. So it can tell you a lot about yourself. If you want to check out some of my other videos on the 5 elements, I'm going to put links for all of them below, as well as the different archetypes or different element types, so you can see which one you might be, even though you have all of them within you. But today we're going to focus on metal, because we're in the season of metal. So we just got out of the season of earth, which was late summer. Now we're moving into the return, is what it's called. So in the 5 phases, it's almost like you could think of a seed that's planted, okay? Or you can think of birth-death cycle, okay? Water here is when it's in hibernation or germination, okay? And then it sprouts out through wood, and then fire is like the vitality of life, summer, the height of yang. And now we kind of transition back into this coming back to ourself. So the first thing about metal is it's a time of not only transformation, but it's a time of letting go. So you may feel the shift right now, because as we're moving, the yin is increasing more in the world and in our own lives and personalities. You may feel old stuff pop up, surface in your life. And what this is, it's almost like a test that we're actually willing to transform in our lives. So the metal element is all about purity, and it's about letting go of what no longer serves us. So this is the season where you're going to find stuff, I don't know, old exes may come into your life, or old job opportunities, or things that pop up for you that have you questioning where you're going in your life. And what this is a period of us detoxing, or not so much detoxing, but really going inside and determining what is holding me back from really fulfilling my destiny in life. What am I still attaching to? So it's about detachment, it's about getting rid of things that no longer serve us, it's about purifying, and it's about clarity. It's about inspiration. Okay, so we're letting go and we're taking in, making room for new stuff. Number 2 is metal element is associated with the organ systems of the lungs and the large intestine. Now, the time cycles for these are between 3 and 7 a.m. So you may notice during this season that you have more dryness, or you're coughing at certain times of the night between this 3 and 7 a.m. It has to do with the lungs as well, not the lungs, but the skin and the immune system. So you may find yourself catching more colds if you're not careful, or if your metal's out of balance. So you have to realize that you may be prone to more dryness in your body. Number 3, is metal element is associated with the emotion of grief and sadness. So as you're going through this purification process, as you're letting go of things that are no longer serving you in your life to make room for new inspiration, because metal is all about the future, you may grieve past lives, past things in your life, past jobs, past exes. You may feel that stuff bubbling up inside of you more, even like grieving ego. So the thing about metal, it's about grace, it's about beauty, it's about, in a way, simplifying, okay? It's again, returning to yourself, but in a more evolved state. For some people, it can mean death, returning back to death, okay? You have the birth-death cycle, coming back before you come back to water. But for a lot of us, it's about returning back to yourself, but in a more evolved and enlightened way. So it's about introspection and learning from yourself. And things will pop up, things from the ego, or you may have things pop up, and it's this wisdom that we get from realizing that, you know, the materialistic stuff is no longer, like it's releasing some of the materialistic stuff to come back to our true authentic self, who we are actually destined to be. Because a lot of times as we go through the phases in life, we can get, things can get blurry, right? The ego can attach to things. We can attach to material possessions or superficial things, and we can think that that is our path in life until we realize and we come into this season and this element of understanding and, again, clarity about our future and clarity about our destiny and what is actually in alignment to our true authentic self. So it's not only about transformation, but it's about being okay with change. So when metal is out of balance, it can become too rigid. So understand this, metal, it is a very strong structure. It can be very strong, but at the same time, it can be remolded, okay? It can be flexible in a certain way, but it has structure, stability to it. So that's what this is about. That's what the metal element is about. So it's about being okay with change and not becoming so rigid in your life. So it's about structure, it's about that stability, but not becoming overly rigid in trying to control everything in the situations. That is what it's about. Number 4, the metal element is associated with something called the Po spirit, or the corporeal soul. So in ancient Chinese medicine, each of the elements have a spirit to them, 5 spirits. Now, it wasn't until about the 1960s in the Chinese dictatorship where they suppressed anything to do with like the spirituality aspect of this ancient medicine. And they westernized the medicine and modernized it into TCM as we know it now. But these 5 spirits are truly, truly important because they're basically each is a facet of how we respond to the world, or how we move throughout the world, how we shine throughout the world. So the one associated with metal is the Po. And the Po has to do with our animal instinct. It's us being in the present moment. It's also a reminder that we are connected to more than just our earthly bodies. Okay, so this is the part of us that is responsible for being present on this earth. Number 5, the metal element is associated with our own self-worth and self-esteem. So especially those who have a constitutional, their constitutional metal element, they may find that they're very self-critical at times, perfectionist. Again, it's this rigidity or trying to control situations. So out of balance may run into certain things along these lines. But just understand that, you know, think of metal, okay? Again, it's strong, but it can be molded. And again, think of the organ systems associated with metal, or the lungs and the large intestine. And lungs are about taking in pure air, right? And the large intestine is about releasing, okay? Releasing the impure from the body, letting go. And you can associate this to autumn, to fall, when the leaves fall off the trees, right? They're letting go. They're not hanging on, because if they hang on, nature isn't going to run its course, okay? When we get to winter, when we get into the cold seasons. So what does nature have to do? What do trees have to do? They have to let go of the leaves. And it's the same with us. In order to get to this place of rebirth or transformation in our life, or the next phase in our life, we have to be willing to let go of stuff that no longer serves us, stuff that blocks our own personal path. That is the most important thing, and that is the reminder that we can get with this season and with the metal element. So the metal element, while it's not talked about as some of the other elements, it's kind of like this mystery to a lot of people. Don't know a ton about it. It has this grace and this beauty to it, and this very subtle kind of alchemy and transformation that comes along with it. So the spiritual aspect of it, the energetic aspect about it, okay? It's not just about dry cough, okay, or allergies or stuff that pops up in the fall, like the beautiful trees and things like that, but it's about the grace and the beauty within each of us as we're going through phases in life, as we're winding down, getting to this place of hibernation, which is water in the winter, slowing down, going inside a little bit more, finding the clarification that we need in our lives in order to move forward on our path. So it's about inspiration, it's about the future. Metal's all about the future and the beauty that comes with it. So if you like this video, please let me know. Leave some comments below. I have a bunch of other videos on the 5 elements. I have them on each of the element types if you want to see which may be dominant within you, and a bunch of other intro videos. So check those out. I'm going to put all the links to those below. Other than that, have a great day. Subscribe for new videos every single week, and peace out.